Greetings, travelers. There are these little things going on right now here in the United States called the holidays, so I am a little bit busy at the moment. Therefore, I have decided to return to my true calling, making high runtime, low effort content. As you know, I am the definitely most correct creature in the universe when it comes to opinions on jobs in Final Fantasy XIV, so I have decided to stare into the unending void known as video game journalism. A terrible line of work where they have to write 700 articles a second about a billion different games to make minimum wage. What kind of lowlife would make fun of people for tirelessly writing every single day? Behold, Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker, every class ranked from worst to best. Let's just fucking get in there. Alright, blah blah blah. Waiting in queue reference? Check. Expansion is good? Check. Final Fantasy XIV has excelled in class balancing. Check. Alright, we got all the initial check marks out of the way. Let's take a look at tanks. The worst tank is Dark Knight. Okay, why? It is worse because it is the same as it was in the previous expansion. Alright, I'm starting off strong. That is pretty much the most common complaint. Thankfully, they also said that the self-mitigation abilities are undeniable. I've literally never heard someone say that TBN is actually not the strongest tank ability. While it's not exciting, their mitigation and burst damage abilities still make them one of the more accessible tanking options in the game. Ah yes, of course, jobs are accessible based off of having abilities. If only any other tanks had mitigation or burst damage abilities. Did I say we were off to a great start? Maybe I'll take that back. Alright, Warrior. Warriors are good for their self-healing capabilities and absurd damage output. What, did they fucking write this in Heaven's Word? Like, just copy and pasted this from 2 expansions ago? Endwalker leans into the latter. Ah, so damage output. Oh, I'm sure. Bloodwedding, did you hear about that? Turns out that nobody cares about you. The problem with Warrior at the moment is that the class emphasis on self-healing via damage output means that it's a main tank and lacks some defensive abilities that its closest rivals enjoy. Alright, I'm gonna need some concrete details on that one. What mitigation tool are they lacking compared to other tanks? Fucking Dark Mind? Alright, only self-healing too, huh? Guess Nascent Flash was just something that you unbound from the hotbar. That's also nice. In the same paragraph, they mention that it lacks defensive capabilities, but they also say that they are able to take care of themselves. I feel like those should be mutually exclusive, but I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Alright, Gunbreaker was one of the most popular additions in Shadowbringers. It is one of the best overall off-tank options in the game. Ah yes, Gunbreaker, known for off-tanking in most metagames. Alright, what Gunbreaker lacks in pure tanking abilities and makes up for with his versatility. Okay, that is not the word that I would use for that, but alright. It has a solution or contribution to most situations. So you mean like every other tank? They also simplified some of this job's most complicated mechanics, making it the most exciting overall tanking options just a little bit more appealing. Simplified, you say? Gunbreaker was not that hard to play from a rotation standpoint. It's better to think of it as the busy tank. You have to weave a lot, which makes it hard to weave in mitigation. And guess what? You get to weave even more than previous expansion. I wouldn't recommend Gunbreaker if your biggest problem with the job previously is how busy it is, because moving Gnashing Fang to one button didn't change that. And lo and behold, what's the best tank? It's Paladin. Why? Because Paladins are not the most exciting solo tank option in the game. Alright, that's a little bit of a bad pitch right there, but I guess we'll see where they go from this. Their defensive skills are simply absurd. Ah yes, absurd again. Well, assuming that absurd is the same adjective that they use to describe warrior damage, I suppose, yeah, they are both very absurd, if you really want to put it that way. But seriously, how the fuck are you calling warrior bad at tanking and paladin good? I feel like the only way you could be that wrong about something is if you're actively trying. It's like getting a 0% on a true-false test. Yeah, that was a Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse reference. A good movie. Well, I'm sure it can only get better from here, but I'm starting to speed up my incredible analysis a little bit. Alright, healer jobs. Ooh, Scholar bad. I start to get a little chub every time someone steps on me, on Scholar. Scholar's pets offer a variety of failsafe options. Ah, yes, that's exactly what I want to think about on Scholar all the time. The pets. I fucking love them. Scholars still have an overall strange kit that doesn't include many viable DPS options and ultimately isn't that fun to use. Alright, so we removed Nascent Flash from the bar earlier. Guess Energy Drain is off the bar too. DPS options are out the window. While saying that it's not fun, I can't really argue with that. Although from what I have played this expansion, Scholar feels way more responsive than it ever has. And I think that responsiveness makes it a little bit more fun. Astrologian. The job was dead and it turns out it's not dead. Who could have seen that coming? I always like dunking on people that complain anyway, so that's another point to the article. Astrologians are more streamlined because of the emphasis on pure healing. In other words, they removed Nocturnal Sect. It's a very straightforward job now because you don't have to shift between the two paradigms. It is still not the best pure healer. More on that in a bit. Oh yeah, I would have a really hard time guessing what you're gonna put at number 1, even if I couldn't read ahead in the article right now. All those fucking off GCD healing buttons on Astro are actually not good. I've never seen anyone solo heal with this job ever. Or Scholar, for that matter. Never been done before. Sure thing. Secondary healer, my fucking ass. Earthly Star must be too small or something. Jesus Christ. Sage. It is the best combat healer in an MMO. Oh, I'm sure it is. It does damage and gives barriers. Got it. Scholar doesn't exist. Okay. It's fun to play. Well, once again, I can't really argue with that because it's a matter of opinion. Although I am weirdly curious about why people cannot see that Scholar and Sage have literally like 80% overlap on their skills. They are way more similar to each other than White Mage and Astro are. I guess Phlegma is just that much cooler of a skill to them, and they probably think that Toxicon is a gain, although I really think you should double check those values real quick. Turns out that Toxicon is literally just movement tech and single target. Honestly, Sage to me right now is proof that you just need to make people think they are doing something and they're going to be happy with it. White Mage is the best. I am stunned. Flabbergasted even. Just like how Paladin is a pure tanking class. Well, at least they're being consistent. Alright, it just has too much raw healing potential. I'm sure I don't have to repeat myself on that one, but I will anyways. All these other cracked ass healing skills in the game, garbage, just because Cure 3 and Benediction exist apparently. Alright, melee DPS, the most melee of the DPS classes. Monk bad, okay, why? Because it has too many dead abilities. How many fucking dead abilities do you even have on Monk right now? Isn't it like just a Notment? Understood, whoever wrote this article doesn't play Monk and just copy and pasted some information again. Moving on. Alright, Ninja. Ninjas fall slightly lower on the overall DPS rankings due to their more complicated kit and low margin for error. Okay, unforgiving, I'll give you that one. But complicated? I don't think Ninja has been super complicated ever since the Mudra changes made in mid-Shadowbringers. It is the best endgame DPS option. Oh baby, there it is. That's the line. Ninja is simultaneously one of the absolute lowest personal DPS jobs in the game, but it is also actually the best. I can tell you right now, Ninja is never going to have high personal DPS as long as Trick Attack exists. Samurai. Alright, Samurai is a weird DPS job. Okay, that's probably not the adjective I'd use, but alright. Why is it weird? It is weird because it is thought of as a greedy class that deals a lot of damage. But it doesn't do anything outside of that. Okay, I'd still probably use the term selfish, but let's see what else you got. I acknowledge that it is a simple job. Look, I know you're right, but why you gotta say it out loud, man? Alright, I've emotionally recovered. I'm pretty good at that. Alright, Dragoon. Let's see. Dragoon is clean. Ah, yes. I would never want to see a dirty Dragoon. I will argue that Dragoon has felt good from a rotation standpoint practically since forever, because it's clear that someone on the lead dev team plays this job. Alright, so what are they saying? Dungeons due to their simplicity. Oof. Man, that's a double kill on 2 jobs with the simple word. You know, all that planning that these people do for their Life of the Dragon phase, that's actually just a waste of time. I wouldn't really call Dragoon the easiest melee DPS, but you can do you. Alright, Reaper is the best. It's only been out for, actually, wait a minute. When did this article come out? 14th of December, so it was like a week, and it was already the best. Okay, alright. Opinions can be formed very quickly. It completely upends the meta. Why? Because they are fun to play and sexy. And they do a lot of damage. What amazing insight. Okay, I mean, yeah, Reaper is the top of the DPS charts right now. It's not like the numbers are ever going to change. They've never done balance patches in this game, ever. All the job numbers are going to be immutable from the expansion release. All I'm gonna say is, I can't wait to tell you I told you so when Samurai gets buffed in patch X.2 yet again. Also, how in the world is Reaper versatile? Like, in what way? Because they have a regen and a DPS buff? Alright, so I guess I'm removing Brotherhood, Mantra, Battle Litany, Dragon Sight, Trick Attack, and all mobility skills, as well as Merciful Eyes. May you rest in peace. Alright, so that was a good time. Let's go into physical range DPS. Machinist. Just kidding, Machinist. It's not strong enough for being a selfish DPS. Hold on. That's a really good take. That's another point right there. I'm still going to have to take that point away, though, since they decided to say that it is better in prolonged fights. Why did you even type this? You could have just taken this out and it would have been perfect. It was just so close. Dancer, sandwiched between the other two physical range DPS jobs, as they are the middle ground option. Okay. Good buffs and bad personal DPS output. Man, all those Bard players on fucking Copium after Dancer was introduced in Shadowbringers. You gotta move aside. Dancer is definitely not the buffiest job in the game that made some people wonder if Devilment was even going to be legal this expansion. Yeah, it definitely does more personal DPS than Bard. So anyways, go to FF logs, sort by individual DPS. Look at my boys Dancer and Ninja. That's a little suspicious now, isn't it? Anyways, Bard is the best because they have party buffs and dots. What the fuck does dots have to do with anything? They can keep their distance effectively. Alright, I'm taking En Avant off the Bard and adding cast times to every other physical ranged, I guess. Alright, Bard and Dancer comes down to preference, but Bard is more fun. Okay, well if fun is factored in, sure. Dancer isn't for everyone. But it's really not that hard. If you're looking at it from a numbers standpoint, if you have a group of monkeys, take Bard. If you have an optimizer that's doing meth in your party, take Dancer. Bet you didn't think I could get through it that quick. Time to take a look at magical range DPS and round out this amazing article. Alright, Red Mage is more of a buff than a damage dealer. Man, you feeling okay over there? Ninja, Dancer, Bard, all those classes? No party buffs. But Embolden, that's the real buff job. They have a very diverse kit. Interesting. Versatility is nice, but it's also not a master of anything. Yeah, I'm sure. All those week 1 groups that literally crutch on Verrays to analyze mechanics, garbage. That new MIT skill, terrible. Versatility is good for every other job in the game, apparently, but not for Red Mage. Yeah, hang on a second. This sounds like some shit that I would write. Anyways, Black Mage. Alright, it is the most selfish and most powerful DPS, and it's good because it rewards you for playing it a lot. Hang on a minute. So, let's go back for a second. Samurai is bad because it is selfish and doesn't bring any other utility. Yet Black Mage is good because it's selfish and doesn't bring any other utility. You know, is it possible that both jobs are selfish and that's their identity? Alright, I'm gonna have to add a raise to Samurai, I guess, to end up fixing this discrepancy. And finally, Summoner is the best, because it wasn't that hard to figure out. Well, at least the basics were easy this time around. Optimizing Summoner might get a little bit funky though. Anyways, dots are good on Bard, but were bad on Summoner, and Summoner is good because of its versatility. Oh, you mean that it has a raise and a heal? You know, something that I think is actually good to point out is that Red Mage and Summoner fill very similar niches when it comes to versatility. In fact, I'd argue that their niche is almost identical, except that Phoenix heals are free. And really, just think about it for a second. Both jobs have a DPS buff, they both have a raise, they are both mobile in their own way, and they both have a fucking melee combo now. All I'm saying is, how do you hate Red Mage for those reasons, and like Summoner for the same thing? Well, I can only assume that when people make an article like this, that they don't play every job in the game or have an understanding of what everything does. I can't get too upset with that. I don't really think it's too big of a deal. Thinking Paladin is the best tank or thinking White Mage just has the highest heal output, although I can get a little upset over inconsistent reasoning. However, if you're someone who is purely looking at the numbers right now, I just want to let you know that those will change. Whatever is the best DPS right now is probably not going to stay that way. For the moment, I would try to find something that you enjoy playing first, and if you want to be a meta slave, wait until the first balance changes come and then decide what you want to play. Now, before I forget that we're at the end of the video, make sure to do generic YouTube bullshit things to help me stay in business. Now let's get out there and play a bad tank like Warrior.